Welcome to Cool Club's proprietary fitting bay inside of Roger Dunn, Santa Ana. Today we've got something super exciting. Austie Rollinson, the Senior Director of Putting R&D for Scotty Cameron, is going to walk us through the new studio style line, all the technology that you've ever wanted. Plus we've got our man Luis here who is going to hit some putts and get data. Stick around, you won't find this anywhere else on the web. Off camera we had Luis hit his gamer, which Austie's got a little description for.
It's an antique. Beautiful, classic Scotty Cameron putter, but a bit of an antique. I think we can do better.
Right. Well, this is going to really highlight the technology changes from, I don't even know when this putter was from. As you say, antique, you know, horse and carriages were around when this thing was getting made. And now we've got the latest and greatest design and technology. So we want to kick it off by maybe taking a little look at Luis's original numbers and then giving him the brand new studio style Newport 2 to feel and experience. So we've got all these cool camera angles, we've got TrackMan technology, it was actually picking up data on the golf ball. Some real initial things is Luis had a tendency to leave the face a little open, and his roll percentage at 89%, it's good, but we can hopefully improve it with this new technology. Can you lead us into, you know, what are the key technologies in the new studio line?
Well, the main piece of technology is the new insert. So we have a new studio carbon steel insert. That's going to give Luis a little softer sound and feel, although he has an old carbon steel putter, which is still pretty soft, and that kind of got us thinking about using carbon in this new insert because it's got great damping properties that give that softer feel. So it'd be interesting to hear his comments on how the feel compares. But it also has a great chainmail texture on there that's going to really help hopefully improve that roll percentage, at least match it, if not be a little better.
Yeah, well, it looks like a jewel. You know, the face, that, you know, hopefully we can get a close-up of it here. That chainmail tech looks awesome. You've got some dampening properties on the back of the face. Also, the silicone around the edge is also going to make it feel a bit quieter, softer.
Right, so the carbon steel is put in there with some vibration damping tape and screws to make sure that it stays in there, stays flush to the face. There's a lot of things we do to make sure it's flush to the face. And then the silicone around it helps to add more damping to it, get a little softer feel. And then the chain milling technology really helps to remove material from the face to give that softer sound and feel. So I'm anxious to hear what Luis has to say.
Feedback is very important here, mate. Give us everything you got.
You got it.
First impressions of feel.
Soft.
Good word.
Yeah, very soft. Looks good at address. Actually, the insert feels pretty similar to my gamer.
Yep.
Feel-wise. Feels really good.
So those last few putts, we actually did see an improvement in your roll percentage.
Okay.
So the ball rolled more efficiently for a greater distance of the putt, giving you greater control, greater feel, distance, pace control.
Noticed that. It noticed the roll was more end over end, a lot more consistently on those last two for sure.
Yeah, the pattern in the face is going to help give just a little more friction to help give you a little bit more top spin on it. Compared to your old putter, which has kind of a smooth milling up.
Exactly, yeah.
So we can dive more into the fitting component here as we start exploring these different models, right? You know, Newport 2 is that classic look that everyone's seen before with the plumber's neck. But this year you've done a lot of different designs. So can we touch on some of the other options that are available to us?
Yeah, so in that classic Newport 2 shape, we also have the Newport, which is a little more rounded. Still has that plumbing neck. It's a little shorter blade, a little narrower, and then also we have our Plus model. So that'll be a Newport 2 Plus, which is a little wider, a little larger head, give a little bit more forgiveness as well for someone that wants a little bit bigger footprint looking down, but still has that same Newport 2, Newport classic look to it. We have a Newport 2.5 Plus. It has a little jet neck on it that'll help you give a little more face awareness, a little more toe hang to that design. And then our brand new Catalina, which we've brought back, which is basically an oversized Plus Newport model, but with a single bend shaft. So it's going to give you a little bit more of that mallet setup with the blade look. So the best of both worlds there. For someone that wants a little less face awareness, a little more square to square path, it'd be a perfect setup for them.
Awesome. Let's jump in. Why don't we hit the Catalina and see what you feel with that single bend, that maybe a little more stable shape?
Let's do it.
What's your initial feedback on just the look of it here?
The look of it looks really nice. The bend at the bottom of the shaft neck area looks really smooth and consistent. Everything's symmetrical, and when you line up to it.
Austie, can you tell the difference between the plumber's neck and the single bend? Explain what that might do for a player.
Well, one thing it's going to do is going to get that head a little closer to your body. So the shaft axis is going to be closer to the center of the putter. So that's what promotes the more square-to-square stroke. But in the setup, it's going to help get your hands a little higher as well, which sometimes helps with getting on the right plane. So I noticed his gamer in the Newport 2, he had the heel up a little bit. This is going to help probably get that blade a little more square to the ground.
Flatter. We got a great camera angle for that. I'll flick back to that and we can kind of keep an eye on that as he's hitting putts here.
I can kind of feel that, what you were just talking about. It makes you keep your hands a little higher at address.
The one thing we haven't touched on, but it's kind of cool, is how you've linked the chainmail design on the face to the rear of the grip, that texture the player's feeling.
Yeah, it's really, the chain link came about from a conversation with Scotty in designing that grip, wanting kind of automotive influences, having a cool pattern back there rather than just the usual pluses and dashes that usually you'll see in a textured grip. He likes to do things with a little more of a flair, and so really wanted to kind of mirror that pattern on the face, because we're really looking to remove material to have a pattern on there to be able to get that sound and feel we want. And that chain milling was the perfect way to do that. It's very industrial, elegant, very Scotty Cameron.
Yeah, looks great too. Luis, give us your feedback on a plumber's neck now versus kind of a higher single bend.
Honestly, it kind of feels a little better for the way I set up to a putt. Having these hands a little higher is going to help me get that putter a little more to the inside versus my miss, which is a little to the outside. So it kind of right off the bat, it makes me kind of set up and commit to the way I have to set up to roll the putt the most efficient way.
And Austie, you talked about the size of this putter being a little larger. That creates stability in the stroke too, and maybe some miss-hit forgiveness.
A little bit, yeah. So it's going to be a little larger head, and because we've gotten rid of the hosel on this design compared to the Newport Plus, it's all steel on the bottom. So you're able to get the center of gravity a little lower, a little more spread out heel toe weighting, and to get a little more forgiveness on this. And then it's a little wider, so that sight line is going to be a little longer, which will help with alignment as well.
One of the key things we're already noticing with this style, and it's not face balance, but it's closer to it, is that his face angle delivery has actually been a little better. The last putt, the putt before this one, we actually saw that face pretty much dead on zero, which is, for you people out there, when you're trying to figure out how to putt, there's a million different things to know, but getting the face square at impact is probably the biggest.
It's the most important of where that ball's going to go, is where that face is pointed.
And that can help us guide us into these other style of putters here. We might maybe stay away from the jet neck, which is going to create more flow to that toe and really open and close more, and go into these slightly larger models, which I'm excited to show people. Tell us about the ones that we've got with the split design.
Well, those are our new Squareback design and Fastback design. So really those were about giving these blades a little more of a mallet appearance, a little larger footprint at address. So that's going to give them a little more confidence. It also gives you some real estate to really do some cool things with alignment. And so what we've done on the Fastback and Squareback, you'll see they have kind of a ring-weighted design to them. So it's got a kind of a hole through the middle. Scotty calls that the peekaboo hole. And then we've had to, in order to keep the weight where we wanted to, we had to replace, basically put aluminum pieces on there to make it lighter overall, so that's the proper balance. And so we decided to do that in a contrasting black color from the surface. So you really have kind of a front blade and a back blade, and that's really going to help you to know where that face is pointed, because a lot of people that like using blades will use kind of the leading edge or those leading edges as you go back in a blade to align. So this gives you just much more of those. And one thing that our tour team has figured out, that a lot of tour players like to have that visual, that back blade staying square all the way through impact, because it's having that square through the impact zone is super important to hitting it on the right line.
I can't wait to get Luis's actual feedback and some numbers on that. I think we talked about this off camera, but there's two awesome things that are going on right now. You know, covered the spectrum of putters. We've got the blade styles, then you've got the mallet styles. And we talked that you've got mallets that are kind of going towards a blade with that plumber's neck style. And now with these models that we just discussed, we've got blades working towards a mallet. So you can really pick and choose your exact needs through the Scotty Cameron line.
Yeah, so a lot of our studio style putters have the plumbing neck on there between Newport and Newport 2, but if you look at the new Fastback and Squareback, both those designs come with a mid bend, and then we've added the Catalina. So mallet shafts in these blade models is really important to get the right setup for these players. And then we've, on the Fastback and Squareback, we have a Squareback 2 with a plumbing neck, and then a Fastback 1.5 with a jet neck. So you get a lot of neck options in those putters to get the right setup, the right flow that you're looking for to putt your best.
Well, off the back of Lewis's feedback, just like I would in a fitting, you said that you liked this neck style. It gave us a little more stability. Why don't we stick with something like that with one of these Fastback designs?
Let's do it.
So, Luis, this is the Squareback. It keeps that neck design that we talked about, but we add that front to back dimension. I want your honest feedback on what do you kind of prefer in the look of? Are we looking at the blade, or do you start to see that blend into the mallet with these alignment features?
I personally have been a fan of blades as long as I've been a golfer. So to see the technology mesh between mallet to blade is a little more comforting, because clearly these mallets are the more forgivable, style of putter. Looks really good, as well as the Catalina performed. I'm actually pretty curious to see what this does.
Let's get some numbers.
Let's give it a run.
I really like, I'm not even standing over the putter, but I love the way this thing is sitting on the ground for him. Like the draft of that putter kind of sitting back on the ground just looks comfortable.
And that is going to ensure that that face is pointed in the right direction too, because as you get more upright or flat, it's going to be off a little bit.
Right, and having maybe that wider base gives the player a more obvious feel of lie angle on the ground.
It's got a good feel to it. These kind of almost make you emphasize your setup. Make sure you're setting up with the ball right where you want it.
Your speed drop and roll percentage are right where we want them. They've improved. Your actual stroke is improved here. Your path is less left, and your face is nearer zero more often. This is looking good.
That's good. We're on to something here.
And the ball went in the hole, which is obviously
exactly
at some
That's
point,
the most
right?
important.
Dude.
Filling it up.
Actually, it feels really good.
So of the three that you've tried now, I guess 4 including your own, we had to put you on the golf course right now. Which one are you taking out?
I'd probably go with this one.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
It's a big tech change.
It is. The look of it is a little different. It kind of has the look of kind of like that 2+ look to it. But I mean, the roll feels good. The face feels good. The neck is a little different, but I mean, over time you can get accustomed to that, and seeing how the roll's coming off the club face.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, because sometimes the players that use the plumbing neck actually use that to help them align. And so we do have that available in a plumbing neck. So it'd be interesting to see, get your feedback on that as well.
Before you hit this one, Luis, I want to just harp a little bit on putter fitting. It's so important to get fit for your putter. Length, loft, lie, neck style, alignment aids, weight, grip style. Scotty Cameron offers all of these products, and as we talked about with the options in the line, we're not just looking at preference. Putting is about feel at some point, but there is technology to it, and we're capturing it here at Cool Clubs with our cameras, our TrackMan data. I just wanted to highlight the look of Luis's last putt sitting on the ground. It shows how that lie angle really was working, where that putter sold out really nicely through the ground. Because we're going back to a plumber neck with this Squareback 2 option right now, it's not that this doesn't work, but there are adjustments that could be made. If we see the toe going down again, we can adjust the lie angle more upright to have it work specifically for Luis's stroke.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, you'll see, and it'll be interesting to see with the Squareback 2, if that heel starts coming off the ground a little bit. There could be things about that neck setup that really help with his alignment, and he's just comfortable looking at that style putter. We can get the angles right so it's sitting square on the ground to make sure that that face is pointing square. So there's a lot of things that we could do from a fitting standpoint to get that set to his setup much better.
Perfect. Swing away. That looked like a really nice stroke.
Yeah, it's got a good feel to it.
As Austie just touched on, do you feel like you have a preference now looking at the same head with a single bend versus a plumber?
But I mean, the setup and address position, I mean, it looks really well. I like the line on top right here. Kind of gets you dialed in right when you step into it. that was
I'm just going to put my fitter data hat on here, and we saw that the face angle starts to hang open again.
Yeah.
When you've got this toe hang. And it's funny, like, you know, what people feel and what is real, you know, is what it is. But actually the single bend provides a little more face to the sky, you know, less toe hang, face balanced feel versus the plumber's neck, which has the center of gravity more towards the heel, dropping that toe down a little bit. It might be, as an advice point of view from us, is to get you more to that face to the sky feel to provide a more stable face at impact.
Yeah, as that shaft gets closer to the center of the putter, it's going to help you release it better.
Okay.
So I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, 100%. And this isn't the only shape option for this style of putter.
No, so this is our more kind of square, boxier look, like our Newport 2 type shape. We also have a fastback design as well. So if you like more curved edges, like some of our Golo style putters, we have that option as well. So a fastback has always had more curved toe and heel, but that's square back. So you get the same sort of alignment benefits, forgiveness elements to this design, but with that different look, more of a curved look.
And there's definitely worth a try of this putter of both styles. If you like that wider style, in a fitting, your fitter can help you understand which one you're aiming better, because there can be massive benefits through those softer edges, that rounder back versus the squarer model in either plane. Right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the eyes, when it's curved, you don't see them.
Yep.
And so you're not fighting alignment. If the face looks square, but the edges they're pointing a different direction, it could confuse you and it could be very inconsistent.
Yeah. So there is a lot of science to this putting. So we hope you've really enjoyed this deep dive with Austie and Luis with some tech on these putters. It's time to find out which one Luis is going to put in the bag for this year. We can make some recommendations, but I'm a big fan of giving people, you know, an option or a couple of options at the end. We've taken a look over the data and we've got up on the screen here the highlighted putter. It improved your face angle to the point where your traditional miss was an open face. This has got it a hair to the left on average. Your roll percentage was higher. Your speed drop was in a nice place consistently over and over again. And this is the one that the putter sat on the floor the squarest. So the lie angle, and it sat really, really well for you. We're going to recommend the Squareback with the single bend, you know, giving that little more face balance. But you also like the Catalina, which has the same aspects. Do you have a choice?
I wouldn't be opposed to either. I could definitely feel the difference in that toe as I was going through the ball. The Squareback, I think, would be a little more of an adjustment just because of the width of the head. It's definitely a little wider than I'm used to. Catalina looks a little more accustomed to my eye, per se. But I mean, they both performed really well. And looking at the difference from everything we've tried here today, I'd go right with you on that, either Squareback or the Catalina.
Well, it makes a little difference from what you walked in the door with.
Absolutely.
That shaft setup really helps you get in that proper position, get that putter on plane much better, which I think is the key to delivering that face more square.
Correct, yeah.
We look forward to seeing you on the golf course with your brand new Studio Select Scotty Cameron for 2025. We hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell us which putter you think suits your game the best. What do you think of the new technology? How did Austie do with the research and development, with the technology and design? Tell us your feelings on the new carbon face, the chain links design on the grip and the face. We want to hear everything from you. Head to a Worldwide Golf retail location or worldwidegolf.com to book your fitting for Scotty Cameron's new studio style putters.